Hello, Dave. Today is Wednesday, 16th of February, 2022. I am Bro 9000, and I hope you are all functioning very well. Shall we just get the guests out, boys and girls? I think we should. Few technical difficulties. What can I say? The internet is horrendously bad with this storm that's passing through. So, okay, guys, so bear with me.
I think Mega Geek's having a party.
Yeah, I'm going to mute him.
Sorry.
It's all right, Ian. We've gone live. You can hear everything you were doing. Don't worry.
Who cares? I was getting a drink. I don't care. How's everyone?
We're not bad. Okay, we'll just get the guests out. They're all on screen. We'll just introduce them. Lost Chord, are you well?
I am reasonable, thank you. How are you?
We're not bad. Bit narked about the internet and weather, blah, blah, blah. But okay. Ian, you okay?
Got me drink. Had a good chat, my
We
bro.
know. We know. We heard every word.
Good stuff. And what was I going to say? I got weather reports on my phone saying that there was this big storm coming.
Yeah, it's up here.
Did everybody else get one as well?
Yep.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
Storm Dudley.
Yeah. It's
good odds.
Yeah. Dudley Moore. It's been a long time since I've been blown so hard. Yes, it's blowing here, mate. So, last but not least, hello, Z.
Oh, hello, sir. I'm very much looking forward to reviewing episode 8 of the Book of Boba Fett.
I'm going to do my very best not to interrupt you this week.
I've never seen. I didn't see it, so I can't comment on that one. Are we talking about Boba Fett?
One.
Z.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was a joke, was it? Because I stopped watching it. So. I didn't know how many episodes it went to.
Too many episodes, mate. In the chat, Little Platoon, Lost Chord's co-host here, listening to make sure he doesn't say anything stupid.
Oh.
There's no fear if our positions were reversed, then you might be at risk of minor slander and libel. But since I'm here, we'll be fine.
I think your little buddy needs to come on here at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd love to if he behaves himself.
Has he watched any Star Trek yet? Does he know of its existence?
I'm gonna take a guess and say that the answer to that is no. But
okay, right. Well, Little Platoon co-host, little man baby, you're more than welcome to come on here anytime. So, shall we just? We've got a fair bit of kind of shite news to get through. A lot of it was because we didn't do Saturday, so it's just kind of clearing the backlog of that, which when you think about it, Hollywood is a bit of a backlog these days. So we'll just pile through everything quickly and then we'll do a little bit of Trumbull towards the end. So today, Jeremy Bullock would have been 77 years old. He died December 2020. And as Z knows, this guy is what? Who is he, Z? Please, for the boys and girls, who is this guy?
He's the real Boba Fett.
He does look younger there than Tamura Morrison in actual
yeah.
Boba
And
Fett.
slimmer.
And thinner, yeah.
And taller.
Dare I say prettier?
Oh, come on.
He's a good-looking boy in that top photograph, isn't he? I think that's from Empire, isn't it? With is that Kazdan?
Kazdan, yeah, he was quite lucky, and also Darth Vader at the bottom there.
Dave
but
Prowse,
he was very lucky to get that part. I mean, he was one of those jobbing actors. He starred in a lot of BBC stuff, ITV stuff. More or less just having co-starring stuff on TV shows, and then he got this role, and it's surprising that he's remembered for this role than any role he's ever done in his acting career. And he didn't say anything as that character either.
I was going to say, it didn't really do much, really, did he?
No. He had 2 parts in Empire Strikes Back, didn't he? He played the guard.
Yeah.
And he played Boba Fett.
He probably said about 2 sentences.
He said, he's no good to me, Dad.
Yeah.
And he said... Oh, what's the other line?
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot to me.
He's in that one. That one, yeah.
The great Andy Masterson is in. Hello, Andy. Jacob Ironside. Hello, sir. The mighty MC. Hello, mate.
For alcohol.
Edge of Time. Hello, buddy. Thank God for alcohol.
Yeah. It's keeping me awake now.
Oh, is it?
I might be joining you on that shortly. Didn't come prepared.
So we've all got happy memories of the original Boba Fett. He is the man, isn't he? When you think about it.
I think he was twice in a Bond film as well. Jeremy Bullock. I think he appeared twice. But yeah, he's pretty good at. Well, he was never given the chance really to do something really memorable. And as I said, Boba Fett was the role that everybody remembers him from now. So there you go.
And apparently, Z, he was really big on the circuit, wasn't he?
He was. I've actually met him several times. He was absolutely lovely bloke. Did many of the toy conventions and mini conventions around the 90s when I was on the same sort of thing. He used to turn up with Dave Prowse quite a bit. And you'd often see the pair of them at the same conventional fair, signing autographs. He's a really nice bloke, very open to a chat.
I was just going to say before we move on, is that Irving Kershner top left? Yeah,
it is him. Yeah, he was George Lucas's teacher at university, apparently. There you go.
He was the guy who directed Empire, wasn't he?
He was indeed.
Yeah. And RoboCop 2, which was his last film, apparently. So, okay, so we'll move on. There's lots to file through it as quickly as we can. This week, or should I say last week, Spider-Man No Way Home broke the Avatar US box office and is still going. Has everybody seen this film? I know Ian has. Z, have you seen it yet?
I have, and I enjoyed every bloody second of it.
Lost Chord, have you seen it yet?
I have, yeah. No, it's the only good thing Marvel have done and it wasn't even a Marvel film. So, it was good. And unlike Avatar, it probably deserves the money it's earned.
Yeah,
if I did have one criticism of it, it was they made Doctor Strange to be irresponsible and very much not like the character he's been portrayed as in the past.
I agree, totally.
Is that
was the only thing that spoiled it for me.
There's loads of plot holes in it, but there's a line of acceptability when you review stuff, and if you dig below the line, you'll find out that everything you'll find loads of stuff that's wrong with any film, right? But you know what, right? It was really enjoyable, and I can forgive the plot holes because it was so enjoyable. Personally, me,
and they really weren't that obvious either. I mean, it's okay to have the occasional slip up in plot writing, as long as the cause of that plot hole isn't just rank stupidity.
Yeah,
and we've had a lot of that in again the Book of Boba Fett particularly. But there was nothing in Spider-Man No Way Home that jumped out as this is just dumb. And actually, it hung together pretty well. The performances were all great. It actually used nostalgia with a purpose. It wasn't just, hey, remember Doc Ock? It was also, no, we actually have a story to tell with this guy. So no, I thought it was a happy reminder that like once every decade now, Hollywood produces something which is not entirely shit.
I think we've said many times on this channel, if the producers or the filmmakers or the story isn't taking the piss out of the customers, we can be very forgiving with plot holes. And a lot of recent films, they just take the piss, don't they?
They do.
But it was a really good film. I mean, I actually felt sorry for Peter at the ending. I mean, to feel for someone on the screen, that means the movie is connected with you. So that's what a lot of these stupid. I mean, Eternals was just a huge mess of a film, a waste of my time. Didn't connect with anyone. Didn't care about anything. You know, that's when a movie is bad.
I thought Tom Holland in this was fantastic.
I thought they all actually managed to get a very well balanced proportion of screen time overall, and I think every character had their positives. Although Willem Dafoe absolutely stole the show, didn't he?
He did.
He did. I mean, as I said, there were silly bits in it, like Peter Parker's spider sense didn't go off when he got stabbed by Green Goblin, which I found puzzling. But you know, I mean, and he was all right. He wasn't. He got picked up by Andrew Garfield, and he was okay. You know, that kind
but
of
a flesh wound.
Stupid. Yeah, that was a bit stupid. But you know, you had such a good time up to that point. You didn't care really.
Wasn't it good to see the old boy back, Tobey Maguire?
Old boy, he's only in his 40s. I'm talking about. Yeah, it was good. It was good to see him. He's a great actor. Yeah.
But that Andrew Garfield scene when he saves MJ, that I was fighting that back with. I'm going to need a tissue because that was such a redeeming moment for him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
it was a real achievement of this film. Is it actually makes you. It did more good with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man than Andrew Garfield's 2 Spider-Man films did.
Yeah,
it actually went some way toward redeeming his version of the character. They're not worth watching. They're pretty crap. But this film did it pretty well. I mean, it balanced the you know, it did effectively have 3 protagonists for about a third of its run, and that's a difficult thing to balance in any story. But actually, it did it really well. They played off each other really well. It did bring out their slight differences. And it made good use of their established backstories, as you say, with Andrew Garfield's arc when he failed to save his MJ and then saves what's his name, the current Spider-Man's one. As you said, that was really effective. And actually, they also managed to make Tom Holland's Spider-Man a bit more serious and grounded and less irritating than he has been in some of the previous films. It was less sort of wisecracky and a bit more. There's more genuine emotional weight to it, and he has actually showed a good acting range, which I didn't realize he had.
But also there was the stuff that happened in it that was way ahead of you as an audience member, like the bit where spoilers, of course, a bit where Aunt May dies. I mean, you never saw it coming because she was standing. She looked like she was okay. Do you know what I mean? And then, you know, she falls down, and you realize that she's been wounded badly. But as I said, they played it in such a way that it was like, you know, she was okay. There was lots of things like that in it that I thought was really good. And just you know, just they weren't telling you what was happening. They were always one step ahead of you. So that's why the film's good.
Yeah, in the chat, Time Prophet, Tom Holland is better in everything but Spider-Man.
And I haven't seen the new the Nathan Drake one yet, so I can't attest to everything. But he's been all right in other things I've seen him in. But in this film, he actually does have a lot more emotional complexity. He has to have a greater dramatic range. He has to present a much more complex emotional narrative on screen for us, and he pulls that off really well. And it's not just flying around with wise cracks and then occasionally being punched by someone. He actually had real emotional strife, and again did that very effectively, I thought.
Jacob Ironside in the chat. I thought it was very funny that they pointed out that the webbing came out of Toby.
It's just different universe, and it was James Cameron's idea. When James Cameron was in charge of Spider-Man, he wrote the script. And the script that Raimi ended up with was based on James Cameron's script, even though James Cameron didn't get the credit for it. And one of the ideas James Cameron had was that he didn't have web shooters. It would come out of him was organic. and they left that in the script. So
And
that
actually
was
played that quite funny. It was actually a relatively decent joke as well when they asked him, "Does it come out of anywhere else?"
yeah.
I thought that was I'm used to Marvel humor just failing these days, but that worked kind of well.
Okay,
It did.
so we're all saying well worthy of its 1.8 billion and rising.
Unlike Avatar.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll briefly mention last week's episode of this. Ian, did you like last week's episode of Resident Alien?
It was, the word woke doesn't do it justice. It was super woke. The episode. It was the worst episode I've seen in Resident Alien. It was really terrible, and it was even the ending made me just want to chuck something at the screen. I really thought that it would escape this kind of nonsense, but no, it hasn't. So I don't know. Hoping that episode 4 is not going to be as woke as episode 3.
We'll find out tonight. MC Girls' Night Out. I didn't have a problem with Girls' Night Out. It's just the fact that they was teaching about the pay gap between genders, which I didn't want to watch, to be honest. But there you go.
Also, it doesn't exist, but
Exactly.
Time Profit. Yes, we're on season 2, buddy. I think 4th episode tonight. So first 2 episodes, not bad. Number 3, bit of a boot in the bollocks. So I personally think, Ian, I don't know about you, tonight's episode, we will see where it's going.
Yeah, we will. I mean, the ending really did want me to chuck something at the screen with the little girl tells him to shut up and sit down.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thought, what the... Anyway.
Written by the girl who plays the blonde floozy in the bar, the one who's always
God, what a surprise!
Verbally sparring with the Alice Wetterlund character. I can't remember her name, but
is it just my imagination? But has the Indian girl's arse got bigger in this show?
Well, we don't body shame on this channel, but yes,
it's not called body shame. I'm pointing out a fact. If you can't point out a fact, then I don't know what this world's going to come to these days. Seriously, the girl's bum has gotten bigger. She is bigger from season 1 to season 2, and I'm just saying that as a fact. Do you know?
Here we go. This is why.
Too many tones.
Time Profit, you naughty boy.
That's crazy.
Okay, so Resident Alien, please don't do it to us. You're not super woke. You're entertaining, please. Moving on. Oh, right. Okay, this drops.
We don't want to talk about this rubbish as well. This is nonsense.
Oh,
Complete
boy.
utter nonsense.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is the hammer blow, this one.
It's not. We don't even know it's going to happen. They say it's going to happen, but you never know.
Apparently, I read the article. They've listed all the characters, and they're Asian, Middle Eastern. One's, as you can see, non-binary.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter
Okay.
as long as it isn't. As long as it's entertaining. If they have those people of color in it, it'll be fine. But as long as it's entertaining, as long as they don't do the message in the show, then
they're all
we're
super
laughing,
young
really.
as well. Apparently, Time Profit, Fett, Quantum Leap them. Yeah, okay, agreed. I'm not hopeful of this. Scott Bakula's not involved.
There's this new Halo project that's coming out has had exactly the same thing happen to it. I'm pretty sure I've read that. I mean, I haven't played Halo in ages, but I know a lot of people are looking forward to that series. But I have heard that Master Chief is being sidelined for a brave new female equivalent. Because there's those memes doing the round with The Witcher, where it's like, join the club. We've had this too. Everyone has this happen to them now. Did I see a new Star Trek project there?
Just bear with me. We have got some Halo slides on here somewhere, but I think I may have gone past them. Yes, I am looking forward to the Halo TV series, and is that the one? There we go.
Oh yeah.
It's out in, I think, next month, and it's been renewed already. And apparently, the Master Chief is not. It's not about him. Can you believe it?
So the guy, as far as I'm
about the
aware,
women.
who you play as in virtually every single game, and it's not about him. That's a stunning and brave decision.
Well, I mean, you can watch it or you can't. I mean, the thing is, though, it doesn't care. They don't care about how many people watch it. All
No.
they care about is how many people, subscribe to their channel.
They do. I've made this point in, I think it was the second video we did on Star Trek Discovery, and I think I saw a slide for that as well. But no, you're absolutely right. What they have is a big IP. The big IP will drive people toward the streaming service. If people watch the thing they went there to, the thing they joined it for, and hate the thing they joined it for, but find something else to use and so don't cancel their subscriptions, then the big IP has done its job. And so there is no direct relationship as there used to be between fans and studios, because ratings are no longer enough to get something cancelled. And it's very difficult to see how fans can exercise any kind of immediate effect on the direction of a franchise, given that actually the franchise is not very important to the studio. All that matters is that it's important to enough fans who will then go and subscribe. But streaming services are cancer for TV.
As I've said before, obviously this is set 500-600 years in the future, so everybody is equal.
Oh, really?
I don't care. I'm not going to watch it anyway.
But I just think it's going to be the modern day politics that's going to spoil this puppy. So
Who cares?
Yeah.
Good
Well,
luck.
to be honest, I do, because I'm a massive fan of Halo.
If you're a massive fan of Halo and you know what they've done to it, don't watch it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I know. I just think it's foobar.
But you are going to watch it, aren't you, Brown? See,
I'm
there's
going to
the
watch the
rub
first
right
episode. I'm going to watch the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a massive Star Trek: The Next Generation fan. I got to halfway through Picard episode 2. That was it. Never again.
I got to the
had
end
to
of
watch
it.
all of it. Yeah, I had to watch all of it.
I got to the end of it and I just thought, oh, fuck off. What a waste. What an absolute waste.
I'm having to rewatch it for this part 2, the series we're doing on Picard, and then I'm going to round it off with a review of season 2 when that comes out. But it's I'm not old enough to really remember very much of The Next Generation, but I've seen enough of it to know what it's about and to like the bits of it that I've seen, and to know that what we now have presented to us as Jean-Luc Picard is just, it's Jake Luke Picard. It's just not him again.
Can't watch it anymore.
I'm so
watch it.
sorry about everything. I'm sorry.
Honestly, the only enjoyable thing about it was when Admiral Bitchface tells him to shut up. That's the only thing about it I liked, because someone had to tell Jean-Luc Picard to put us off.
It was just too old from the beginning. They should never have made the show. It was just a big waste of everyone's time. They've actually spit all over our generation. Because I love the Star Trek Next Generation. They've just basically disgraced it. That's all they've done. So
should have been made maybe 10 years ago. They may have got away with it then.
Well, if it was made 10 years ago, we wouldn't have all that woke shit in it, would we?
Exactly. And he's probably just about old enough to pull it off, or young enough.
No, he's too old.
Yeah,
There's no reason for him to be in it.
10 years ago, we may have just been young enough to pull it off, though. So, Time Prophet, we'll get into it, mate. We're going to pile through all this shit, so we'll get to it. Don't worry, mate. Okay, so this dropped this week.
No. What's that? Post-sequel trilogy of Star Wars movies about a new Jedi Order. I don't care.
Is this the one that's
cares
led
about
by
this
Rey? But Rey doesn't need a Jedi Order because she can do everything. She is the Alpha and Omega and beginning.
But nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, was it? Obi-Wan's coming out, and I don't care. I mean,
he might do that. That's a possibility.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Do you know what I mean? It's just all of it's just a waste of everyone's time. Well, my time anyway. I can't speak for the stupid idiots that watch these kind of shows, especially Boba Fett. That was a waste of my time, I tell you. Somebody actually told me, I think it was Keith, he told me that the ending was really disappointing. There was a big fight and all that nonsense, and I just thought, thank God I never watched it.
I mean, you saw all the episodes with us, and I think that last episode was quite possibly the worst of them. So if you didn't see it, then you didn't miss anything, because honestly, that was just a disaster.
Yeah. I just don't understand people who watch it that say they're fans.
Yeah, as I
Ryan
said,
Johnson, he must be itching
Sorry,
on his seat, waiting for the telephone call, isn't he? Is it me? Is it my is it my sequel trilogy?
Wait, and what's that new one coming out? That guy from Rogue One? As if anyone is interested in that guy from Rogue One.
Cassian Andor.
Who's interested in him?
Two
Who
series
cares?
as well. His second series greenlit before it's even been shown.
Who cares though? I'm not going to be watching it. I don't know him. I don't care. I don't want to know him either.
And he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah.
There's only so far it can go before he's dead, and that's it.
We already know how it ends. Yeah.
If he was a white male
Badly.
playing that character, they would never have made a series on it. Never. Do you know what I mean? It's just an insult. It really is. Anyway, whatever.
Best thing these fuckers could do is just apologise, but they won't. So
They won't apologise.
Gone. They just keep churning it out.
And you get people, just very briefly on that last one, you get people who look at the Book of Boba Fett who insist that despite all evidence to the contrary, there is still a chance that the sequels will be retconned, and then they point to plot inconsistencies in the Book of Boba Fett as though this is evidence that Favreau and Filoni are slowly retconning the sequel trilogy. But if you watch the Book of Boba Fett and you realize how badly written that series is, what's the most probabilistic explanation? Is it that they are deliberately creating inconsistencies, or is it that they're just incompetent writers who don't notice they're being inconsistent? Because I think that's probably the more likely explanation. Given that repeatedly, he's actually consciously writing with the sequel trilogy in mind when he's writing these series. So
the explanation is that it's money. You know, Robert Rodriguez is a really smart, incredibly talented director. There's no explanation for why this guy is actually directing badly in those shows. None whatsoever. It's obviously money.
Yeah.
You know,
if I didn't actually know that Robert Rodriguez was directing those episodes of Boba Fett, I would have swore you were lying.
Exactly.
You know, because they were just so shoddy. It's horrible.
Yeah. It is, yeah.
So
it's just money at the end of the day. You know, some people bend the knee, and I think Robert Rodriguez and now I think Filoni and
sold out.
I think they've all sold out, and it's money, isn't it? At the end of the day, if the amount of money that you have, more power that you got, I guess. You know.
Indeed.
Oh, well.
Okay, so this dropped yesterday at the I think it was the Paramount shareholders meeting or whatever it was. We're finally getting Star Trek 4.
No.
Why?
Chris Pine.
Why? Why?
That's a good question.
It's like, well, why bother this time around? You know it's going to flop. The last one flopped.
But the last one was, that was shockingly bad.
It was
bad.
bad.
Bad films, and then there's bad films. And that was a bad film. Is that the one where the climactic fight scene ends with them flying around playing like AC/DC or something?
Yeah.
And somehow it blows up the drones, directed by a Fast and Furious director, and you could tell. And what the hell was going on in that film? And how the hell have they decided that another one is a good idea?
Yeah, well, you know, I think Star Trek's had its day now. I mean, you can carry on with Chris Pine and Zach and the rest of them, but you know, Zach is. I mean, oh God, everybody's getting older. So when is
working either? So
when is Pine going to look like Shatner? That's all I can say. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Matt I, or is it Matt One in the chat? Yeah, and why none of these movies are good? It's pew pew, no substance. Yeah. Time Prophet. Yeah, Star Trek used to be cerebral.
Yeah, now it's Star Wars. I agree.
I actually like the characters. You know, the actors who play all the characters. It's just a shame that they're getting let down by
the first one. The first one was good. There was a good idea, but when they followed through, all they wanted to do was Star Wars. If you look at Wrath of Khan, it was about Kirk being the age that he was. That was the underlining thing about the whole thing. You know, they had stories underneath the stories, if you know what I mean. So,
of course.
And this is the last two Star Trek films after the first one. It's all about pew pew. That's all it is.
Yeah. It is indeed. Okay, so we'll move on. I'll probably go see it, but we'll move on. Halo, yes.
I'm going to see
Sonic.
this. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah,
Would you believe?
First one was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. The first one. I wouldn't go as far as say it's fantastic, but it was a lot of fun.
Wasn't that one of those rare instances where studios actually listened to fan criticism?
Yeah.
And they redesigned Sonic, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because it did look quite terrifying when they first put the concept out. And then
Sonic was the last film I saw at the cinema before we were all imprisoned.
I have to say, I didn't realize there was a second one. I have to say, I knew there was a first one.
I think it's coming out next month or April.
The first one was
really
a hit. The first one was a hit, and the humor was quite fun. Jim Carrey was over the top, but he was funny. I thought, I went to see it with my nieces, and they loved it. It was enjoyable. It was enjoyable nonsense, which cinemas, films these days don't have enjoyable nonsense.
Time Profit, I will see Sonic 2. So will I, mate. MC, you should go see it. It's really good. Lucky Time Profit, I was never imprisoned. Lucky you, mate. Number 3 has already been greenlit.
Well, let's see what the second one's like before I commit to number 3.
Time Profit in the chat. Thank you. I don't know if this is a compliment. Channel must be improving. You are getting bots.
Oh. Bots.
Okay, so
I'm racking my brains for a way they could make Sonic woke. I'm really struggling.
Well, they have a girl in it, don't they? They have what is it? Is it Tails in it? I think she's a girl.
Tails
one of them's a girl, right?
Tails used to be a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, well, they have a girl in it. I know that in this one. So
I guess they could make her good, but otherwise, it's really hard to. Like they're hedgehogs. Well, can you make woke hedgehogs? I guess they can do like the gender dynamics of hedgehogs or something. That could be a thing.
Well, we'll see. I hope it doesn't go there.
Could you trans a hedgehog though? Because it would always have pricks. Moving on. Okay, so
Sonic has got blue hair.
Yeah,
he does have blue hair.
Blue hair bad, as Rennie would say. I'm looking forward to this. So move on. Well,
this person has pronouns in her bio, so she is not to be taken seriously.
This one's for you, Lost Chord. I know for a fact you're really looking forward to this.
Oh my god.
Please tell the peeps at home why you are vacillating over this.
Because I think the problem with Tolkien is that he just lacked imagination, and he wasn't really capable of bringing the best out of the world that he made, and he didn't give us like a really deep world. So it's about time that our best modern writers, as recommended by J.J. Abrams, have taken on Tolkien's legacy and are finally giving us the Lord of the Rings we all deserve, because, of course, the Peter Jackson trilogy was so very disappointing. So, I'm really looking forward to this series because, just look at the images that we've seen so far. Who could not be looking forward to this series, apart from the bigots and the racists and the man babies? No, I'm really excited for this. This is going to be fantastic.
I detested the original Lord of the Rings so much I couldn't even be bothered to see the third one. So even I'm looking forward to this. Ian, you looking forward to this?
Not interested in the slightest. I don't know what that thing is in the middle. It's meant to be an elf, apparently.
No, the thing in the middle is a dwarf, but
dwarf
without a beard. But the thing is, Tolkien in his he wrote whole letters on the subjects. Most of this series is going to be trying to spin 5 series out of 150 pages, mostly of appendices. In one of which Tolkien says that dwarf men outnumber dwarf women 3-1. Dwarf women are never seen, and when they travel, they look like male dwarfs, and all dwarfs, including the women, have beards from the moment they are born, which is why they have the line in the film, "It's the beards." But apart from apparently being very open-minded and multicultural, dwarves in this series, dwarf women do not have beards because you can't put a beard on a woman, I guess, except that you can. I don't know. It's every single thing that's dropped about this series has been awful. All of the news is bad. All of the decisions they've released in advance are bad, and you could tell that they were looking for the backlash because they pre-prepped Vanity Fair with attack lines to use against fans who actually care about the lore. And so without the series even having broadcast the first minute of the first episode, you've got articles in Vanity Fair and the one ring.net basically saying that anyone who doesn't like this series must be an irredeemable bigot racist. And this is just this is the next big cultural thing. This could well be our next Last Jedi moment.
Yes, because
it's going to be fantastic.
Nerdrotic, hail Gary. What was it? The One Ring Network? Do you say?
It's onering.net.
Yeah, he was a massive fan of. He said he would daily go to the website and look for news, and then they've sold out to Amazon, haven't they? Because they've been calling everybody istphobes, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. So they've sold out.
The same forum, if I recall correctly, that really complained about Peter Jackson's trilogy because it gave Arwen a too big a role. And now the extent of the cultural colonialism which it's been subjected to, it's gone from complaining that a female elf is given an outsized role to branding anyone who doesn't think female elves should be given outsized roles are irredeemable, sexist, racist bigots. And apparently without a shred of self-awareness at all. But no, I mean, I've had arguments with people on Twitter about this. This divide is just, it's not between racists and progressives. This is a divide between people who want the Lord of the Rings to represent Tolkien's world as he depicted it, and who care about the lore and the stories that he created, and those who think that every single story in every single medium should represent the current political messaging of their faction. Like, yeah, what do you care about more, stories or messaging? I care about stories more.
The message.
The message.
But you know what, right? I was on as everybody knows, I was on a film last week, and all the crew was younger than me, and they all knew Gary. They all knew Gary, and they knew me because I was on Gary. A couple of the students knew who I was. I call them students because they look like students, but they're all very young. But there's a bit in the script where this girl basically looks up, and there's this like handsome guy asking her if he'll help her with her books in the script. So so the actor that was going to do that didn't turn up. So everybody was like, what are we going to do? And somebody said we should use a girl. And I said, that doesn't make any sense because the girl's meant to be attracted to men. And they all scoffed at me saying, oh, what world do you live in? Yeah, you all could be a girl. And I just thought to myself, my God, they've all been brainwashed. They've all been brainwashed.
Yeah, you live in the world where the story is set, not where they prefer it to be set.
Exactly.
I mean, one of the things that they've majorly missed out on is diversity done right, because they could have got plenty of trans women to play female dwarves, and nobody would have had an issue with it because it would have looked authentic.
But that just goes to show that two things, really: the reach of Gary and the reach of the pop culture fight. Because these guys were pretty young; they're in their 20s. I think the oldest one was almost 30. And two, they've been I say brainwashed, but they've
brainwashing.
They've been caught up in this whole thing. But you know what? I mean, it's their world, isn't it? So let them have it.
No, sod
the
them.
media was
I'm nominally one of them, and I don't want them in charge. Fuck them. No, absolutely not. I was trying to explain to this brainlet on Twitter who was like, I was saying that the problem is not diversity per se. The problem is the way in which this series utilizes diversity. You can Lord of the Rings, like in Game of Thrones, did this quite well. You know, you knew, because they were conforming to the places of their origin. The Dothraki looked like Dothraki, the people of Dorne looked like people from Dorne, people from Westeros were pasty-faced northerners. It made sense in the context of the world in which it was set. You can do that with the Lord of the Rings. There's whole regions that we never saw in the films, which Tolkien depicts in the books. You can explore the Men of the East, you can explore the Black Numenorians, you can explore the Men of Khazad. You can do all of this stuff, and instead of doing that, they've turned the Shire, which is supposed to be depicted as this very, very insular community, they've given that the kind of diversity level that you would see in the most multicultural inner city borough. And the problem isn't the fact that there are diverse actors there. The problem is it doesn't make sense in the context of the place. If you're casting Lenny Henry as a Hobbit, fine. But then all other Hobbits should also be black, because that makes sense in the context of the world they're in. It's an insular place. They don't trust outsiders. They don't mix with outsiders. So of course they're not going to have people of multiple races living in the Shire. So pick a choice, make a choice, have all black hobbits if you want to, fine. That would at least make some sense. But don't just do this scatterbrain diversity, which doesn't actually care about the realities of the way in which people live. All it cares about is that they are seen to be represented. And it breaks the world. And I was trying to explain this to morons on Twitter who, of course, deliberately missed the point, because they're incapable of subtlety and nuance.
Now, God bless you, but why bother though? Why bother arguing with anyone?
Because I love arguing with people.
Good luck.
Pretty much everything that we've seen tonight, even on the slides here, has been IP and content in name only, hasn't it? Where they've taken what made something great and then created a derivative product which is detached from it.
I think these people, everything has been dumbed down because the target audience are thick as fuck compared to what we were like 30 years ago.
It's not dumbed down. It's just they just want what they want at the end of the day.
But of course, you realise that this means that between the second and third age of Middle Earth, there was a race war.
Yeah, there has to be a genocide, doesn't there?
There is, because they're not there anymore.
And also, Elrond has to hit puberty really, really hard to become Hugo Weaving. But yeah,
I don't. I'm old-fashioned. When I watch shows, I don't know. My eyes gravitate to the best-looking person on screen, I guess. And unfortunately, that girl in the middle I wouldn't class as good-looking at all, personally. But
she's ticking boxes. That's all that matters, mate.
I guess.
MC.
That she
Thank
looks
you, my
just
friend.
like a hobbit. She's dwarf.
As I said, I just think everything has been dumbed down because the target audience or the people who watch these stuff, they're either on the phone or they haven't got the intelligence to figure out what's going on.
What was that film? Was it the 355 that flopped abysmally? The women that were like James Bond.
The spy thing. Yeah, the spy thing with what's her name, Penelope Cruz, who is.
Yeah, but it failed so badly. It only ended up a week in the cinema. It was just nobody went to see it.
Critical Drinker did, but anyway, moving on. Okay, so
you're probably the only one.
Who's a fan of Futurama? I am.
Anybody?
I am. And what are they going to do to it?
It's coming back.
Oh dear. Is it?
They're going to make their own Futurama, but without blackjack and hookers.
Okay. Well,
there's one serious flaw, I think.
What's that
John DiMaggio, who did the voice for Bender, he wants more money.
Give it to him.
Exactly. You haven't got a show without Bender, boys and girls.
That's right.
Whatever he wants, just fucking give him it. So he's not coming back. So they're looking to recast Bender.
He was in the Adventure. Was that kid show? He did the voice for the little dog. Oh, you guys probably didn't see it. There was a really famous kid show that he did the voice to. You can tell it was him because it's. No, what was it called? The Adventure Time. There's a cartoon called Adventure Time, which was really successful.
Yeah, he was
Nickelodeon.
Jake the dog.
That was it, Jake the dog.
The only thing I know about Adventure Time is that when I was in halls in university, roughly half of halls would get high and watch it. That's
that's what it's for.
Right, sounds like my place. Okay, Time Profit, they will make Futurama woke. And then Matt won, or is it I've never seen Futurama. Oh, Matt, please watch Futurama. It is amazing.
I do like Futurama, but I wouldn't say I was a
fantastic.
fan. I'd watch it when it's on. If I'm around and it's on, I'd watch it.
Yeah, I was living in Leeds with the girlfriend at the time, and we were massively into Futurama. we straight away we thought this is better than The Simpsons, even better than peak Simpsons. Futurama, fantastic.
But you know,
Maybe
I mean,
they'll,
you could go. Sorry, go ahead, 3PO.
Yeah, maybe they'll replace them with one of those soulless computers that talked for Luke Skywalker.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well, I mean, you
Take
know,
all of his
maybe somebody
lines.
can do an imitation of his voice. There's a lot of people out there that can do it, you know. So probably not going to matter, is it? Really?
Matt won, or is it Matt I? Bender will now be Bendy, and it'll be a woman robot, probably.
But you know, if you look at Futurama, right, it did play. It wasn't considered woke because is it Leela? Leela was quite more intelligent than
I don't
everyone.
think for her.
But she was more intelligent and more straightforward than everyone in the cast, you know. So that you could consider that woke today, I guess, you know. But because all the male characters were stupid in Futurama. Let's face it. I mean, Fry was the thickest one there, wasn't he?
Thick as two short planks.
Yeah.
I always like the octopus. What was he called? Dr. Zoidberg. I love
But he wasn't an
Zoidberg.
octopus. He wasn't an octopus.
Well, he had
Zoidberg
kind of like
was
a funny
crab.
mouth.
He was a crab, wasn't he? Oh, he was a crab. He had crab hands, didn't he?
Yeah, he had these octopus type tentacly
things,
mouth.
in his mouth. Yeah, in his mouth.
Here we go. Wookiee Fever 19. Blah, blah, blah. Is Matt Groening not involved in the comeback?
I heard he is.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's a good show. I hope they don't woke
I
it
loved
up
it.
too much.
I thought it was fantastic. I think it came back as well, and I've not seen all the episodes when it came back, and even some of them were pretty good. So it's probably had its day. What little hope it had, if Bender's not coming back or John DiMaggio, just Hulu, just whatever he wants, just pay him what he wants. Yeah,
It's really funny because you know, they're not creating anything new, and when they do create things new, they try to disguise it as something new. Like, for instance, BBC One's got this show coming out. I can't remember what it's called, but it's just the Bourne Identity. It's the Bourne Identity. It's about a guy traveling and he loses his memory and his people trying to kill him and stuff. And it's like, that's the Bourne Identity. And I went to see Marry Me, as I told you guys before we started this thing, and it's a really good film. It's enjoyable, but that's just Notting Hill, but in reverse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's not like they're creating anything new, you know. So I don't know. Maybe all stories have been told. So we're told.
MC Zoidberg is great, lobster-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of lobsterish, isn't he? Yeah.
Okay, so
It just occurs to me there is a
him.
sentence that works equivalently well for gay porn and Futurama, which is that it doesn't work without Bender.
Yeah.
That joke has already been cracked in the chat.
Damn, I missed that.
By the naughty little time prophet.
Oh. Sorry.
Okay, so well done, time prophet. Who saw Edge of Tomorrow?
Did anyone see Edge of Tomorrow?
No, I did. I thought it was very
really
good.
Yeah, I thought
it was very good. Yeah.
It's a repeat.
Yeah.
And a repeat and a repeat and a repeat. I'm kind of thinking they're going to make this into a TV show because either they can't. I know that Mr. Cruz and Emily Blunt were up for it, but it's probably one of these things that was either in scheduling hell or just what little chance there was it was going to be made was, you know, Koof stopped it. So I think they're kind of taking the next best option in their eyes and making it into a TV series.
Why? Just make something new, for God's sakes. No, I don't know. Anyway.
It was a great film.
It was a good film, yeah. I enjoyed it.
Timey-wimey shit, boys and girls. It was great. Emily Blunt as well.
Is she married to the guy who plays Jack Ryan?
Yeah. She
guy
is.
with the big ears.
Yeah. Lost Chord, have you seen Edge of Tomorrow?
I have not, no. And I think I think the
should go
first
see
I'd
it.
ever heard of it was, excuse me, was when I heard that they were going to do a TV series of it. I don't think I'd even heard of the film.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's worth seeking out. It's quite
Yeah,
fun.
it's a great film. Matt I, is it Matt One? Edge of Tomorrow is excellent, but I think a TV show would be cheap. Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll just keep repeating the same episode for nine series, 9 episodes. So it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Stupid idea.
Well, I don't know. I think if it on 50 minutes, if that was done well, it could
it's
be
not going
quite
to
good.
be.
But it's, I know. If you made it, or if I made it, it'd be fucking shit hot. We know that. But it's just all this is just so frustrating.
The girl's going to be the key to everything in this. Blah,
Well,
blah, blah. She wasn't in the film. No, she wasn't in the film. It was him.
She had her chance to be, but
Yes,
she got,
I'm saying,
yeah.
yeah. So she wasn't the key to everything. It was him.
Yeah.
He was the key to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lost Chord, check it out. Great film. Z, you've seen it. You like it?
It was okay. We'll take it or leave it, really. I'm not the biggest of Tom Cruise fans, to be honest with you.
Massive fan of Mr. Cruise, but anyway. Oh, from the sublime to the ridiculous. More Star Trek. Can you believe it?
I've actually got a script because Star Trek Discovery has just restarted again. And I have a script for a review for episode 8, the one it relaunched with. And I just went back through the script and I thought, you know what? I just can't be asked. This show can't be asked. I don't really see why. Normally, I will happily do hate content because hate content is good for YouTube and I enjoy it. But Discovery is so moribund and bankrupt.
It's not worth it, mate.
It's hard even to make it funny when you're reviewing it now because it's just so samey. And it's that the only enjoyable thing about it now is you can play SJW bingo now. So you can say, oh, I wonder which of the 3 tropes they're going to cram down my throat this week. Lo and behold, in this episode, you have strong, diverse female character beating evil, nasty white man in a boxing match. And then you have crying because there has to be crying. And then lots of feelings because there has to be feelings. And Space Jesus solving everything again. And it's so depressing. And how does Paramount? Well, no, I know why Paramount is doing this because we've already discussed the point about streaming services, IPs, and subscribers. But how do you go from Star Trek Discovery, which by all available metrics, there were very few of them because streaming services don't do transparency, but they do some. But by all available measures, Discovery is tanking. I mean, the debut episode of Series 3 got something like 1 million viewers, which it was beaten by reruns of cheap soaps on Paramount. But you go from Star Trek Discovery and just keep churning out more and more and more and more and more. Is anyone actually going to watch these things?
But you know what? The real test is to have a Comic-Con and have those members of the cast there in front of a live crowd. Ooh. That'll be the real test. Ooh. And you know what? I put money in it. They'll get slaughtered. People will be shouting at them and shouting abuse and all that.
Bloodbath.
That's why Jodie, the Jodie doctor, had a chance to do that, but she didn't. She's basically locked in a room and she's going to be signing autographs and having one-on-one with people.
Are you still going to that?
No, I'm not going to go to it. They dare not put her in front of a live audience because the Doctor Who crowd will just rip a new one on her ass. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But they're picking up the worst ideas from the existing series as well. Like, I don't know anyone who looks at Star Trek Discovery and says, I hate the rest of this series, but the one good thing about it is the young, diverse cast of like university graduates who have no business being on a starship. I really want to see more of them. And so Paramount turns around and says, yeah, let's do a whole series of Star Trek, but at university. Oh dear.
I'm genuinely shocked that their abject incompetence as Starfleet officers hasn't got them all killed by now.
It would have done if it weren't for Space Jesus. She's actually necessary to the plot because if it weren't for the fact that she was as powerful as Jesus, they all would have died in about episode 2 of series 1.
No, but she was responsible for billions of people in the universe who died. Yeah, and so how come she's not behind bars now? That's because she's a woman. Because she's
stunning.
I don't know.
You
stunning and brave. Yes, both of them.
If you arrested her, it would just be evidence of police brutality, and then the series would spend 2 hours lecturing you about it, and then they would release her.
She is black. Yes. MC in the chat. I was thinking this. Oh, he's got an evil streak. That's directed at you, Ian.
Why? I haven't got an evil streak.
So it's a whole, it's just pure evil. It's not just a streak.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so new Star Trek, not required. Move on.
Not required.
Okay.
Doug, Mr. Trumbull.
So what they're going to do there's a little tribute going to be in the Picard series, which nobody's going to watch, but they kind of dropped us in a little screen grab the other day. As I said, we were going to do this on Saturday, but we didn't stream, so we're just picking up the slack from last week. So Picard are going to do a little tribute to Trumbull, Doug Trumbull.
Isn't that an insult to Trumbull? Put Trumbull's name in Picard. That's an insult. That's not a tribute, isn't it? Let's face it, guys. It really is. He'd be turning in his grave, the man.
So, he would. Douglas Trumbull, born April 8th, 1948, died February 7th, 2022, 79. Bit of a special effects legend, isn't he? Legend, isn't he?
Oh.
Ian?
Yes, he is. He basically did something for the World's Fair when he started off, and Stanley Kubrick noticed him and basically hired him to do 2001 effects. So he did. That's how he started. I'm not really sure, but yeah.
I also found it interesting, little nugget of trivia, that his father worked on the visual effects for The Wizard of Oz.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you ever got a look in that, I'm sure that would have captivated him at a very young age.
Do you know what, right? I did not know that Doug Trumbull directed the scene where, in Star Trek, the motion picture, where the little ship goes around the Enterprise. He directed that scene. And they allowed him to direct that scene. And basically, what he was saying, what he was trying to do, because he was a huge fan of, gosh, it's gone out of my head now. Stanley Kubrick. He's a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick. When he was making 2001 with Stanley Kubrick saying to him, "This film's going to be different. It's not going to be overloaded with dialogue. It's going to be an immersive experience. We want people to experience the effects and the visuals and stuff like that." And so when he got a chance, when they Wise gave him a chance to direct the special effects in Star Trek the Motion Picture, he decided to have that long scene without any dialogue, with very few dialogue in there, and the beauty of the Enterprise. And I did not know that until today when I saw a video on him. Interesting.
And see in the chat, here you go, Ian. He is a legend.
He is. He's responsible for the effects for many great movies that I love.
I hadn't realized until I looked him up just how many of the films I'd seen, which I loved the design of, most if not all of their inspiration to him. But,
Yes.
but also it was a point of luck, wasn't it, that he ended up on 2001? Because if I remember rightly, Kubrick obviously was in America for the beginning, and then he hired the company at which he worked. But then Kubrick moved all his production over to England, and then Trumbull had to actually call Kubrick up. He cold called him basically and said, "I really want to do this film. I've done so much work preparing for it. Give me a job." And Kubrick just happened to say yes. And then the rest, as they say, is history. But without 2001's design choice, I mean, obviously we know that the stunning array of films in which he was directly involved, but there's also the indirect influence, because without 2001's aesthetic, Star Wars would not look like Star Wars. So though he didn't work on those directly, he influenced the people who did, and was responsible for a whole sort of artistic genre of film design. But the ones in which he did work directly, I mean, you have to listen: 2001, Close Encounters, Star Trek, Blade Runner, every stunning sort of panoramic you can imagine from a classic sci-fi film. There's a good chance he either worked directly on it, or the people who worked directly on it took all of their inspiration from it. It's just
I remember when I was at school, right? Because we weren't, the word geek didn't exist when I was in secondary school, and there were like a group of us that were really into Star Wars, as Close Encounters and all that, and we knew the ins and outs of the actual production itself. We knew who did the special effects, we knew who was in it, blah 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 blah, right? And I remember when Star Trek was coming out, and we were reading, and it said Doug Trumbull's going to do the effects, and we go, Close Encounters, and then right next to his name said John Dykster, and it blew our mind because John Dykster was the one that did the special effects for Star Wars, and we were like, oh my god, they got these two giants to do Star Trek. Star Trek's going to be, the effects are going to be awesome, you know. So, and we were really excited about it. All the kids in school were talking about Farrah Jeans or learning how to drive, but we were just crazy about movies and stuff. It was like about 4 of us that were crazy about it, but when we heard both of them were doing Star Trek, it just our minds exploded, and we had to see Star Trek the motion picture. Little did we know how disappointing that film was going to be, but it was one of those moments, you know, one of those moments.
You mean something like that?
Well, that was the scene he directed. That's why you've got that scene in it, because
God,
he
wanted
that
beautiful?
He wanted to showcase.
Amazing.
That's a create special lenses for that scene, for the effects when the camera was hovering over the Enterprise, and also before they created the model, Doug Trumbull and I can't remember who it was, they were talking about how to light the Enterprise so that even if it's in pitch black with stars, it would still be lit. And they came up with the idea of all the lights at the bottom and the middle, because the original Enterprise didn't have that. I think it only had a few, and at the top and stuff. So even if it was in pitch black, it will still be lit up. And that was Doug Trumbull's idea. So there you go. There you go.
I'll just have a look at some of these slides. We're going to be covering motion picture at some point. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, to think about all these effects very carefully.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, that's a model. The matting wasn't very good in this, though. There was a problem with the matting. Yeah. See the black lines around the ship.
Yeah. Has the 4K version of this been released yet?
The 4K version's been cleaned up. The 4K version doesn't have the matting around the ship. So I'm told, because I haven't seen it. But I mean, they added an extra shot as well in the 4K version.
Jacob Ironside, she is one well-endowed lady.
Enterprise. Why is it a lady?
The refit Enterprise is just fantastic. Okay, so we'll put this one back up. So this was Michael Okuda, who was the Star Trek The Next Generation guy, graphic designer. He just paid a short tribute to Trumbull. As I said, he died last week, and the visual effects, I had a look on Internet Movie Database, only got 11 credits for visual effects. Official credits.
What's that? For what?
So the first one was The Moon and Beyond, which was a documentary short he did in 1964. Then his big break came with 2001 Space Odyssey in 68. Candy in 68, opening and closing sequences. Then 1971, one of my favourite films, I love this film, The Andromeda Strain. I think that was Robert Wise, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then obviously is Silent Running, 72.
He directed that.
Love that film.
Star Lost, which Time Prophet briefly mentioned, TV series 1973, and then I would say, was this the? Do you think 2001 was the big one for him?
No, it wasn't. Close Encounters was. And then Blade Runner after that.
I was just about to say the next one was. His big massive mega break then was Close Encounters.
The thing about Close Encounters is that in those days, when you put visual effects and you mix two films, you get a lot of grain. So do you remember when you used to watch the Ray Harryhausen movies, and then they're talking, suddenly the film is all grainy. You knew a monster was going to turn up. So Spielberg didn't want that because they couldn't fix that. So Spielberg told Doug Trumbull to shoot everything in 70mm. And so when they had the effect shots, they shot it in 70mm and shrunk it down to 35, so that you wouldn't get that grain in the film. But it's still there, though. It's still there. I remember going to the 40th anniversary of Close Encounters, and you could still see it. But they were trying to think of everything to make the effects look real in the film. And Doug Trumbull did a wonderful job, as far as I'm concerned, with the UFOs and stuff. So yeah.
Very difficult to find any pictures with Close Encounters, and this was probably the only one I found. This was the road shot.
Yeah, that's in the studio.
Yeah,
so that bit was shot in the studio. Yeah, it's you know what, right? He's amazing. He came up with so many different effects, and you know, and the stuff that he did the Back to the Future ride. So he got a bit fed up with doing special effects for films, and he was hired to do things like the Back to the Future ride and stuff like that. And he was heavily into immersing. He wanted to find the next step of evolution of cinema. So he was pretty obsessed with that as well. So even before he died, he's got his own studio, and we're practicing with small lenses and trying to immerse. He was experimenting. So yeah, he was very much into his craft.
Yeah, the excuse me, the Back to the Future ride was that something to do with 60 frames per second back projection?
I don't know, but I know he was responsible for it.
I did actually go on the ride, Back to the Future ride. It was pretty fantastic.
I went on it. It was 4 minutes long. It wasn't that long. The ride.
It was short. Yeah.
Yeah. It was good, though. It was like you actually were there. So
yeah. Okay, so Close Encounters is a special film for you, isn't it, Ian?
It certainly is.
And for the new people in the chat and the Russian bots, why is it such a special film?
It was the film that made me want to become a director. It definitely was. So, yeah, if it wasn't for Close Encounters, I'd probably be working in Tesco's, manager, to have 12 kids and a good-looking wife. But unfortunately, now I'm poor, and I blame Spielberg.
You're
so
not
there you go.
poor.
No, not poor. I'm just poor. But yeah.
Cash rich, but poor in other ways, much like myself.
Exactly.
But anyway, okay, so this is...
Look how young he is there, man. I think he was 24. Yeah, 24 when he got hired, I think. 21, 22, 24.
Yeah.
I think it was 24. But yeah.
So I think that's the lunar shuttle, isn't it? And the Discovery on the top corner.
You know what? When he's... Oh God, I don't know about you guys, but looking at this as a kid inside me now, I want that. I want it. Anybody else want it?
I want it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want
Spaceship. Brilliant.
Yeah. But now as an adult, you just put it on your shelf and not play with it.
And break it.
That's really big for a shelf. I don't know where.
I know.
A vehicle of that size.
Yeah.
As I said on previous stream, I destroyed my 22-inch USS Enterprise model kits in flames long before Star Trek 3.
Yeah, my brother sat on mine.
Which is a great film, as we know. I think we should cover that again because we just love it. Okay.
I mean, how old are you, Lost Chord? If I ask
well, I was born in the 90s, and I'll go
right. So, but the thing is, though, when you were a kid, did you used to actually play with toys? Because I think today's generation, you know, they don't understand when you look at a picture like this. Because I think you have to grow up playing with toys to understand why I said I want that model, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, 7-year-old me was doing better Star Wars sequels with all the toys than like, the actual Star Wars sequels ever were.
Right.
And still could if I still had the toys. I'm sure I've got them around somewhere. But no, I know. I love them. I collected all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
As I said, moving on. I rewatched 2001. After we did the 2010.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's all that bad now.
It's not all that bad at all. It's just for me, it was just a blank. But everybody else likes it. It's fine. It's good. But you can't fault the effects,
it could
though.
Probably do with losing 30 minutes. Yeah, it could do with losing 30 minutes.
You can't fault the effects.
Yeah,
the effects are amazing.
But as we said, I think Kubrick was just being a bit indulgent, wasn't he?
No, but that's Kubrick's style, isn't it? You can't fault Kubrick, and that's what he does. Spielberg is all about family and about immersing the audience in emotion. Kubrick was about standing back and trying to immerse you with visual aid. I think that's what he was all about. If you look at The Shining, it's very evident that's what he was about, from the carpet straight through to the set pieces in the bar. Everything about that film was to immerse you with everything that the snow. You know what I mean? There's snow scenes that look fantastic, and that's what he was about. Every director is different.
Is a really humanistic director. Spielberg is fascinated by the human characters in his stories.
Yes,
it comes to in every film he does. Kubrick, in almost not every film, but in an alarming number of his films, to the extent he's interested in the human characters in his films, he's interested in breaking them down rather than celebrating them or exploring them. And you can see this in a number of them. But The Shining's a famous example of that, obviously. Breaking down the actors as well as breaking down the characters they were playing. But no, is that whatever else anyone can say about 2001, I mean, the effects were, just astonishing and groundbreaking and revolutionary. And the fact that this is a film that comes out, it was before the actual moon landing, wasn't it? I think was it 60?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it came out, and it looks better than most modern sci-fi films do. Just staggering stuff, and the attention to detail, and visually stunning film.
In the chat, everybody is doing basically what we did. MC, I destroyed so many model kits as a kid. Idiot.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between Kubrick, Spielberg, and Hitchcock was very much into the evil aspect of life, wasn't he? He was very much into the blackness of life. When you look at his films, they're very much sort of like trying to pull out the horror of a situation, weren't they? And that was Hitchcock's thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
As said, Kubrick's thing was about visually stimulating you, and Spielberg was about the human interaction between you and the audience. So they're all pretty brilliant at what they did, actually.
PJ maybe also, hello PJ, he was into says here, destroyed so many models and toys. Bummer. Wookie Fever 1969, toys. Yeah, I think the way would have been to buy the toys, leave them unopened.
Well, you buy two, one to play with, one to save.
Yeah.
If we had the knowledge that we have now and we went back in time, I guess we would save them all, wouldn't we? So
yeah, never mind. You live and learn.
Yep.
Okay, so as I said, that's, as we said, Close Encounters.
Yeah, love it. There you go. That's when they were using real film in those days. Yep. 35. Well, I don't know. I think it was 70 they were shooting on there, but yeah, everybody had beards. No, not really. Only him. But very much technicians and students that worked on those films. But yeah, that's a thing of beauty. Look at that.
It is. And then once it's all filmed and you can see it on the big screen, throw a who did the score? Was it Horner or Goldsmith?
No, it was Goldsmith. Yeah. Goldsmith. Yeah.
Throw a Goldsmith anthem over it. Away you go.
Originally, Jerry Goldsmith, when he scored the film, he didn't have a theme, and Robert Wise was like, "We need a theme," and he went back and he created the theme, and then so there you go.
Yeah, I think on YouTube there's he wrote two versions. And somewhere on YouTube, the other version is around.
Which film is this we're talking about? Sorry, I must have missed
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Oh, the motion picture, yeah.
Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Ian, you said he directed the shuttle stuff then.
He did. He directed this whole entire sequence when they have the tour of the Enterprise. Because Wise trusted him. So he was allowed to direct the visual effects scenes himself. So yeah, pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But as I said, when you look at it, as someone that grew up in that moment in time, you can appreciate the model. You know, I guess people of kids of today, they'll look at that and go, ugh. They wouldn't think nothing of it. But for me, I wish I had that model in my bedroom right now. Probably take up all the room in my room, but
it's a thing of
I wish
beauty.
I had it.
But they're so much more iconic than anything you get made these days. I mean, I'm trying to think of the last modern sci-fi film which had ship designs that were even slightly memorable. And I'm really struggling to think of anything that was made since the 1980s. I can't. There must be some, but I'm really struggling to think of it. But there's
Starship
very few as iconic
Troopers.
as...
No, they're all blocks. Those ships. They're all blocky. It's just
The last iconic ship that springs to mind
Roger
for me
Young's
would
amazing.
be the Serenity from Firefly.
of course.
Yeah, that was good.
I did like the
chat.
Razor Crest though. Razor Crest from Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, the Razor Crest, nice. But then Star Wars has always been good with ship design. I mean, that's it's apart from the fucking speeder bikes, it's kept that aesthetic has stayed true all the way through Star Wars. I mean, it's fading gradually from memory, alas, but it's still there.
Yeah,
Right then, boys. In the chat, give us some good examples, as Shane Nolan says, ship porn. So we need some good examples, some memorable spaceships. So do what you can, boys and girls.
And anything from Star Wars is cheating because they're all iconic. But...
Well, the Buck Rogers ships were quite cool.
Starfire was excellent. Yeah,
the TV show.
The Liberator from Blake 7.
Ah, yes, what an iconic design that was.
That was beautiful. I had a little corgi version. I've still got it somewhere. Beautiful ship.
Anything Battlestar Galactica, yeah.
Oh yeah, the Galactica's good.
Yeah, very much Star Wars designs though, weren't they? Very, very much like Star Wars. But the Liberator was a class of its own. It really was. Oh gosh, the Eagle.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely
fantastic design.
Babylon 5, yeah.
I didn't like it. It was alright. It was okay. I don't know.
The spaceships in Babylon 5 were fantastic, especially the heavy Earth cruisers.
Computer generated.
Based on the 2010 model or film.
There's talk of them reviving Babylon 5, isn't there?
Why?
I'm sure I've heard they're thinking of it, or that they are.
It's been put on hold because J. Michael Straczynski dropped a tweet, I think it was not this weekend, but the weekend before, saying what was happening. The CW, which is the network in the States, the woke.
Yes, I'm aware of CW.
Is up for sale.
I wonder why.
And they're looking for, obviously, a buyer. I personally, I think that's why Superman and Lois isn't woke, because there's a good buzz about it. So it's like, oh, okay, CW.
Well, guys, we can put some money together and buy it if you want.
Yes.
I can chuck in a $5,
As I said, it's up for sale, and the head of the CW, the president, he's a massive fan of Babylon 5, and he's basically put the show on hold because normally I think all the shows have been cancelled, because
including Batwoman.
All the shows
that's uncancelable. Batwoman
or the upcoming shows have been cancelled. All production has been, pre-production has been cancelled, apart from Babylon 5, purely because the head of the CW is a massive fan of Babylon 5. So we will see it next year.
That's if CW survives and somebody buys them. Nobody buys them. That's this.
Well, as I said, putting 2 and 2 together, I think that is why Superman and Lois has been pretty good.
Well, we'll see, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, Wookiee Fever, Batwoman is shite. Okay.
Everybody knows that.
It's
Yeah.
such a fantastic series. What are you talking about?
MC Vipers Mark 1 and 2
Yes.
as Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, it is.
My favourite spaceship or spaceships is the Refit Enterprise and the Eagle Transporter. Ian, your favourite spaceship?
I think my favourite spaceship, which I'd love to own, is the mothership from Close Encounters. I would love to own that. That's fucking huge. I'd love to own that one. I do like the Enterprise though. I think the Enterprise is a
beautiful.
wonderful design, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Z, favourite spaceship?
I'm gonna either go with Starbug from Red Dwarf.
I love Starbug. Starbug.
I think it's a
green,
great
yes.
looking, functioning ship, and I love it. I love the design. I love that it's small and modular. It's the sort of thing you'd actually use in space.
Guys in the chat, favourite spaceship?
It's a comedy spaceship, though, isn't it? It's a comedy spaceship, Starbug.
It is.
Oh
goes
yes,
around, yeah.
alien dropship. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really nice. This Sulaco, or the Nostromo. Nostromo is a brilliant ship as well. Yeah,
Starbug. MC is Millennium Falcon.
I did say that was cheating, but if we're doing that, I mean, I love the Imperial Star Destroyer for some reason. It's always been my favorite. I just think that sort of dagger in the sky look just conveys menace and power.
Time Prophet. What about the boob ship from Battle Beyond the Stars? James Cameron, yeah.
You did, yeah. I didn't like that design at all.
Does the TARDIS count?
No, it's made of wood.
It's a ship. It travels in space. What are you talking about?
Jacob Ironside, Death Star would be pretty cool to own. Fucking that'd be. You'd need somewhere big.
Use that as a football.
MC, Galaxy Quest. Shane Nolan, Serenity.
What about the Event Horizon? I'm trying to remember what that looked like.
Oh, what about the Cygnus? The Cygnus from Black Hole.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic.
Yeah, that was
design.
a good ship. Yeah. What about the Imperial base ship on Battlestar Galactica, the original one?
Yeah, it was quite nice design. Very Star Wars, this show. All the stuff in Battlestar Galactica, the 70s version, was very Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you literally can't beat the Enterprise. The Enterprise is such a unique design.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
As I said, especially the refit. Yeah.
I also love that how from the original series right away through to Next Generation and DS9 onwards, they've actually provided explanations as to how this technology actually works, which is believable.
Yeah.
I don't know what a Heisenberg compensator is, but I do know you need one to do transporting.
Technobabble, yes. We always just look forward to the Technobabble on the Next Generation.
What about the Moonraker from Moonraker? At the space station in Moonraker was pretty cool. A wonderful design, in my opinion.
I also
the
the Lucrehulk Trade Federation ships from Star Wars Episode 1. I always thought they were really cool. The big ball in the middle and then the ring on the outside.
Yeah. And what about what is it? The Boba Fett ship?
Slave One, beautiful.
Slave
Starship.
One. Oh, sorry,
Starship.
not Slave One.
Starship.
12 years of Boba Fett Starship.
Oh, bollocks. It's Slave One. Shut up.
On screen, Doug Trumbull again doing this is the space station from
in Star Trek. Yep.
Yeah. Which they
turned upside down for what is it? Wrath of Khan, didn't they?
Yeah. But the thing is, it doesn't matter because it's space. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They're trying to save money, though, weren't they? So they used the same model and they turned it upside down for Carol Marcus's
Yeah, but
place,
they tried to make out it was a different space station, but they didn't need to because they're in space. Don't make any difference.
Mm. Good old Doug Trumbull knew what he was doing.
MC Slave One or Fire Spray?
Slave One.
Fire Spray? Slave One,
Fire
definitely.
Spray is the technical designation of Slave One, but yeah, it's Slave One.
See you, PJ.
Bye, sir. What about what's those ships in Battlestar Galactica? They were the Cylon ships.
They were
the
pretty
Cylon.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
the original ones were excellent.
Yeah, they were quite good. I like them.
Okay, so this is Blade Runner, which I think. Do you think most people will remember him for?
I think I don't know. I remember him for Close Encounters, but I loved his work in Blade Runner. It was pretty awesome, wasn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah.
The spinners were really cool as well, weren't they?
And another one of those that really just, again, it is one of those defining things. Almost now, any kind of vaguely dystopian panoramic shot you get in any modern sci-fi film is usually inspired by the opening shot of Blade Runner. I mean, even like the design for Coruscant in the prequels for Star Wars was modeled a lot on LA and Blade Runner. And, it was one of the things, because I thought Blade Runner 2049, was not bad as a film, but actually it missed a lot of the kind of design work that you would have got from something like that. It wasn't as visually striking, and it was.
The reason why it wasn't visually striking is because that everyone subconsciously knew it was all CGI. I think they used some models, but the thing is, when you watch Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner, I don't. There's something about models that just drags you in. You know, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe just for me. I don't know.
No, I completely agree.
Just feels all you know they're a model, so straight away you know it's real.
Yeah.
I always remember Blade Runner because there was always those kind of lens flare effects.
Yep.
Which I always thought were amazing, whereas now everything's just draped in lens flares, isn't it?
Well, they would put smoke in the room when they did the spinners, because obviously it make the they couldn't, in those days they couldn't do a simple pass with After Effects with JJ, light bouncing off the thing. In those days they had to literally create it with the model. So what they do is they have the model and they fill the room with smoke so that the lights could glow more. So that's what they did.
I mean, this was a time where they had real 100% care and attention on models and practical effects. And it really does help with the immersion. And it's an art form which is sadly lost. I mean, Weta did some excellent work on the Lord of the Rings trilogy, using as much practical stuff as they could. But this is the guy who just set the bar for everybody else.
He did. And, let's not forget John Dykstra as well. John Dykstra was responsible for the computer-generated camera thing, so for Star Wars. So, he pushed the envelope as well. But Doug Trumbull was the man that actually paved the way, with everything, really, when you think about it, from matte shots to models to lighting and everything. So he was the daddy, basically, of visual effects, when you think about it. Yeah,
I think we've got a lot of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fans in the chat. Okay,
And on the show, I love Hitchhiker. Brilliant.
so do I. Didn't like the film though.
I've not seen
the
the
film
film.
was
I've
bad.
seen about 10 minutes of the film, but the TV series was fantastic.
It's the radio show for me. Is the original is still the best.
Okay, I think, shall we call it a draw at that point? So I will just say to everybody in the chat, thank you for turning up, guys. Mainly the bullshit news, but we did a little bit of Trumbull at the end. So I do appreciate you all popping in. We're going to be back on Saturday. I think we're going to be doing Iron Man. There'll be no news because we've got it all out of the way, so it'll be just a straight Iron Man review. So cheers, boys and girls. I will thank the guests. Z, cheers, pal.
You're welcome, sir.
Ian, thank you for taking the time, mate. Cheers. Appreciate it.
No worries, sir.
Lost Chord, cheers, pal.
Thanks as ever.
Are you going to be doing your Picard review? Is that definitely going to be showing up
It is
soon?
definitely happening. I'm hoping in the next, because Boba Fett has now taken up all of my time. So it was going to be this weekend. It's now probably going to be next weekend, but it shouldn't be later than next weekend because I know it's been a long time. I just had to take a break.
And did you say you've scrapped the Star Trek Discovery one?
I've still got the script, but the next episode will be out soon. So I might just wait until there's only 4 episodes left. So I might just do an end of series.
You'll never get the time back, mate.
Post-mortem. Yeah.
Okay, so I think at some point we're going to be doing a series review of Boba Fett using the kind of Ralph McQuarrie-esque end title art. So that's in the offing at some point. So I think that's it, boys and girls. I will leave MC with the final word. Rest in peace, Doug Trumbull. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye.